Good evening and welcome to TVB News. Firefighters battled and extinguished a fire that broke out in bamboo scaffolding on the Chinachem Tower in Central. 3 people were trapped in a lift at one stage. At least 4 people were sent to hospitals by the fire department, and more than 50 have been evacuated from the building. Danny Zhou has the story.
Police received multiple reports at around 4:30 that a blaze ripped through the high-rise building at 34 to 37 Connaught Road Central. Online footage showed bright orange flames engulfed the entire scaffolding, sending dense black smoke that could be seen at the East Coast Park, kilometers away. An injured person rescued from the scene had to wear a breathing mask. The fire brigade used 2 hoses and mobilized 2 breathing apparatus teams to tackle the fire, which was later upgraded to number 3 alarm at 4:36 p.m. It was quickly brought under control, but crews were still working to prevent it from flaring up again, stretching the fire truck ladders and spraying water onto the scaffolding. More than 50 people have been evacuated from the building so far. Burnt bamboos were seen scattering on the Pottinger Street nearby. Some sections of the Connaught Road from Central to Shengwan, as well as Dover Road Central, have been fully closed. Tram services to and from the Central were impeded by the incident. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
The observatory may skip standby signal number 1 and directly issue the strong wind signal number 3 on Monday. This comes after tropical cyclone Fengshen and an intense northeast monsoon are forecast to be closer to Hong Kong and Guangdong starting Sunday. Most Night reports.
Another scorching hot day. Despite it being mid-October, summer seems to have never left the city. Most passers-by are still dressed in summer attire. But residents may soon need their autumn clothing. The observatory forecasts temperatures will drop to around 20 degrees Celsius in the urban areas by the middle of next week, whereas it will be a couple of degrees lower in the new territories. Weather authorities say the sudden change of temperature is due to the effect of tropical cyclone Fengshen and northeast monsoon. According to the present forecast, Fengshen will enter within 800 kilometers of Hong Kong on Sunday. The northeast monsoon will reach Guangdong on the same day. Weather authorities will consider issuing the strong monsoon signal depending on the changes in local wind strength. With Fengshen edging closer to the coast of Guangdong, the observatory may replace the strong monsoon signal with the strong wind signal number 3 on Monday. While Fengshen is forecast to be closest to the territory on Tuesday, authorities will assess the need of upgrading the warning signal. Depending on its intensity, the distance of the gale force winds from Hong Kong, and a change in local wind conditions, Fengshen is expected to adopt a southwesterly track and weaken on Tuesday. The observatory says the weather will become windy and rainy in the following few days. Meanwhile, flooding may occur over some low-lying coastal areas during high tides for several nights next week. Moments 9, TVB News.
Financial Secretary Paul Chan has concluded his visit to Washington, D.C. and is on his way back to Hong Kong. While in Washington, Chan attended the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group. He attended the plenary session of the annual meetings, then joined an in-conversation session organized by the Institute of International Finance. During the sessions, the FS shared insights on the current state of Hong Kong's economy. Chan highlighted Hong Kong's unique advantages under the one country, two systems arrangement. He also emphasized Hong Kong's encouragement of financial innovation. Despite rising global economic uncertainties in recent months, Hong Kong has continued to see capital inflows. Chan also attended a business luncheon co-hosted by the U.S.-China Business Council and the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Washington, with over 40 American business leaders in attendance. Chinese physicist Yang Shenning has died in Beijing at the age of 103 after an illness. Yang became a Nobel laureate in 1957, the first time a Chinese person to be awarded the prestigious prize. Most Night reports.
Born in Anhui Province, Yang Zhenling enrolled at the National Southwestern Associated University before completing his master's degree at Tsinghua University. In 1945, Yang went to the U.S. for PhD studies. The theoretical physicist specialized in two fields, statistical mechanics and symmetry principles. In 1956, Yang and another physicist, Li Zhendao, formulated a theory that the law of symmetry does not apply to weak interaction, meaning that mirror image versions of events can be different. The discovery won the Nobel Prize in 1957, as Yang and Li became the first Chinese Nobel winners. Apart from his international scientific contribution, Yang promoted academic exchange between China and the U.S. He raised funds to sponsor almost 100 Chinese scholars for further studies in America. Yang became a professor at Tsinghua University in 1999. The Nobel winner had also assumed the position of visiting professor at the Chinese University of Hong Kong since 1986. In a statement, CHK says Yang was a cherished mentor who has made a profound impact on the university community. Tsinghua University, meanwhile, describes Yang's life as a timeless chapter in human history. Mamus 9, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump has called on Kiev and Moscow to stop where they are and end their brutal war following a lengthy White House meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Trump's frustration with the conflict has surfaced repeatedly since he returned to office, but his latest comments have edged back in the direction of pressing Ukraine to give up on retaking land it has lost to Russia. Tracy Furness reports.
President Trump welcoming Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House Friday. The Trump-Zelensky meeting comes a day after Trump had a lengthy phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Negotiating in good faith, sir?
Speaking to reporters after his meeting with Trump, Zelensky said it's time for a ceasefire and negotiations, but before that happens, a deal about territory needs to be made.
My position, I know that Russians has another position. They want to, they really want to occupy everything. But now they want, before any kind of ceasefire, make a deal about land, about our territories, and etc. Our position is that, look, first we need ceasefire, so we need to sit and speak and to understand where we are. And I think this is the most important first step.
Arriving in Florida after his meeting with Zelensky, Trump urged both sides to stop fighting.
In my opinion, they should stop the war immediately, and both sides should go home, go to their families, stop the killing, and that should be it. Stop right now at the battle line. I told that to President Zelensky.
The European Union said Friday it welcomes any meeting that could help pave a way to a lasting peace in Ukraine.
First, to repeat that any meeting that moves forward the process of achieving a just and lasting peace for Ukraine is welcome. You've heard us say from here many times that it is long overdue for Russia to stop its senseless and illegal war of aggression against Ukraine. From the EU side, we are taking every possible action to support Ukraine, as well as weaken Russia's ability to wage its war.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
As per the ceasefire agreement, Israel says the remains of another hostage handed over by Hamas have been identified. David Garrett reports.
The latest confirmed victim in the Israel-Hamas conflict. Eliyahu Margalit's body identified after forensic tests. The 76-year-old was taken from stables where he worked during the Hamas raid on October 7th. Found in rubble by bulldozers, Margalit's body is the 10th recovered and handed over since the ceasefire agreement. The painstaking search is taking longer than expected because of damage and the lack of machinery to dig trenches. The Red Cross was seen working on the salvage effort. The militant group have told those mediators some bodies are in Israeli-controlled areas. 68,000 are estimated to have died in the Strip during the two-year war. Both the Red Cross and the Palestinian Bureau of Statistics believe thousands more are still missing. Aid trucks are coming through, but Hamas say it is not enough and Israel is violating the ceasefire agreement. An average of around 50 trucks per day have been crossing since the peace deal last week, but under that agreement, around 10 times that number should be entering Gaza. Israel says enough food is getting through, accusing Hamas of stealing it, which they deny. This bakery in the Strip will help with the famine declared in Gaza. Over 250,000 rolls are coming off the production line each day.
And that's because we can now get the flour, the sugar, the yeast in, but also importantly, the fuel that actually motors these machines. And it just demonstrates that when a ceasefire holds, we can really quickly rebuild. We can get the food production working again. And this is going to head off the starvation that we've seen.
We must rebuild, and we must give the people here every resource that they need to actually, these resilient people, these fantastically resilient people who've suffered so much, we must give them every resource to allow them to build their communities back.
Medical care facilities are another post-war concern as Gazans make their way along the coastal roads trying to return to their homes and restart their lives. UNFPA, the Agency for Reproductive Health, say mothers and newborns are not getting the care they need. They're helping more than 50,000 pregnant and breastfeeding women suffering from acute malnutrition. They say 1 in 3 births are high risk, 2/3 of babies born in Gaza are premature. The UN says facilities are not in place for new mums and their children. The coordinator hopes the world will live up to its promises.
We must always look to also restore those hospitals. 94% of hospitals in Gaza have been destroyed or structures damaged. And of the 50% that are in operation, they're mainly there for trauma only. How can we possibly allow this to happen in 2025?
The Deputy Executive Director says nothing has prepared him for what he's seen in Gaza. David Garrett, TVB News.
Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump said he believes he will meet President Xi Jinping in South Korea later this month as scheduled. In an interview, Trump acknowledged that the threatened steep tariffs on Chinese goods were not sustainable, easing fears of further escalation. Danny Zhou has the story.
Fox Business Network on Friday released excerpts of an interview in which Donald Trump was asked whether 157% cumulative duty on China was sustainable and what that might do to the U.S. economy. Trump replied, "It's not sustainable," and added he thinks the two nations' relationship will get better, but they must have a fair trade agreement. He also indicated he still plans to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, due to be held in Gyeongju, South Korea.
I think we're doing very well. I think we're getting along with China. China would like to have something. As of this moment, we'll be meeting in a couple of weeks. We'll be meeting in South Korea.
You think
myself.
Will go forward?
I think so. It looks like it's going forward. I think so. They want to meet. We like to meet. I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and we're going to see what happens.
China's trade envoy, Vice Premier He Lifeng, held a video call with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jameson Greer this morning to discuss major issues in bilateral economic and trade relations. Bessent wrote on social media that the talk was frank and detailed. The officials have agreed to hold a new round of trade talks as soon as possible. Bessent said during a White House cabinet meeting that he expects to meet with his Chinese counterparts next week in Malaysia to try to defuse the U.S. tariff hike.
And then he and I and a delegation will meet in Malaysia probably a week from tomorrow to prepare for the two presidents to meet. So I think that things have de-escalated. We hope that China will show the respect that we have shown them.
Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Confident the president.
Britain's Prince Andrew announced he is giving up his royal title of the Duke of York and other honors after his friendship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein recently returned to the headlines. Tracy Furness has more.
It is the latest fall from grace for the 65-year-old prince, who had already stepped down from public life in 2019 over his links to Jeffrey Epstein, despite his denials of any wrongdoing. News that Andrew will be ditching his title came in the wake of the release of excerpts of an upcoming posthumous memoir from Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Giuffre died by suicide in April at the age of 41, where she alleged she was trafficked by Epstein. She claimed to have sex with Andrew when she was 17.
What it's done is drawn a line between Prince Andrew and the rest of the royal family. That if there are allegations or further stuff comes out, it will all be on Prince Andrew.
Andrew's attempt to refute Giuffre's allegations backfired during a November 2019 BBC interview.
It's one thing to say I deny the allegations and what have you, but to say something which he's proven not to be true, I think is the straw that broke the camel's back. And the fact that there were other allegations coming, the fact that you were starting to get more detail from Virginia Giuffre's book that's coming out soon. This just became an untenable situation. And it seems to me that if Prince Andrew didn't act, other people might have made the decision for him.
In the memoir, she detailed alleged encounters with Prince Andrew, who she sued in 2021. Andrew denied her claims and said he didn't recall having met her. Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, will also lose her title of Duchess of York, but their children, Beatrice and Eugenie, will remain princesses. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Back locally, a man was found dead after being suspected of falling from Lion Rock. Government flying service was deployed for the rescue operation. Firefighters and paramedics also arrived in the area. Police received reports from hikers at around 10 a.m. saying someone fainted near the Lion Rock. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. With the National Games set to begin in just around half a month, Director of Fire Services Andy Yeung said the Fire Services Department will deploy more than 1,000 of its personnel to prepare for the huge sporting event.
Every second could make a world of difference between life and death. In a bid to increase awareness of CPR and first aid knowledge among residents, the Fire Services Department organized a promotional event at this shopping mall in Taiwan, featuring members of the public who have taken the extra step to save lives. Authorities said such techniques are essential given that they receive up to 8,000 cases of life or death situations on a daily basis.
To further promote awareness of first aid and resuscitation knowledge, the Fire Services Department said they will bring these CPR kiosks around the city's schools in order to allow residents the opportunity to learn more about the life-saving procedure.
Regarding the Fire Services Department's role in the upcoming National Games, Director of Fire Services Andy Yeung noted the department will deploy more than 1,000 personnel to prepare for the event. He added the combination of firefighters and paramedics will conduct patrols across sports facilities during the games, and they employ the use of location as well as personnel positioning software. Speaking about the bicycle and marathon events, which will take place across 3 territories, Yeung said a task force has been set up between rescue personnel from all relevant areas to deal with emergencies. Meanwhile, with the Cheongyang Festival coming up when many people will go tomb sweeping, the head of the Fire Services Department said his department will increase its personnel by 200 for patrols at hill fire black spots.
And that's the news. Thanks for watching.